Hey everyone, today we're diving into a really powerful idea from marketing thinker Santiago Duran. It's something that kind of pushes back on our obsession with data, and it's all about the huge and often ignored difference between just chasing metrics and actually building a brand that means something. So let's start with a question that should make every single one of us pause for a second. Are you driving fast but in completely the wrong direction? It's such a simple way to put it, but it's pretty profound. I mean, think about your last campaign, your last quarter's results. Were you just busy or were you actually getting somewhere? And this is the trap, right? Your campaign dashboard is just glowing. It's lit up. Your click-through rates, your ROAS, your CPC, everything looks amazing. You're hitting all your numbers. But here's the kicker. If you never actually set a destination, all that speed is just you burning fuel. It feels like progress. It looks like progress. But without a clear strategy, it's just motion. Which brings us to our first big point. This whole problem of driving fast, but in the wrong direction. It's that all too common situation where we mistake all that frantic campaign activity for real strategic progress. We confuse being active with actually achieving something. Okay, so if we're just driving around without a map, how do we fix it? Well, the answer is to find your brand's North Star. That's the thing, the guiding principle that actually gives all those metrics and all that activity some real meaning. And you can see the contrast so clearly here. On the left, you've got what Duran calls tactical noise. This is the stuff we obsess over day to day. But on the right, that's the North Star. And this isn't about clicks. This is about your fundamental purpose, your identity, the promise you make to people. One is temporary, the other is built to last. So let's get really clear on what we mean by brand. It's not your logo, it's not your colors. A brand is the internal compass for the entire company. It's that core idea, the why, that should guide every single strategic decision you make, from marketing all the way to who you hire. And of course, this connects directly to that foundational idea from Simon Sinek, right? People don't really fall in love with products. They connect with a purpose. If your brand can't explain its why, then you're just another option out there, basically competing on features and price. Let's make this real with a classic example, Nike. Their purpose isn't to sell more shoes. No, it's to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And here's the really important part. That one sentence creates incredible clarity. That clarity then leads to consistency in everything they do. And over decades, that consistency builds an almost unbreakable bond of trust. That's a North Star. All right, so now that we're clear on what a brand is, let's flip the coin and talk about the dangers of focusing only on the metrics. Why can that be so, strategically damaging? I think Mark Ritson just nails it with this quote. Tweaking a headline on an ad to get a better click-through rate, that's a tactic. It's easy, you get feedback right away, and it feels like you're doing something. But defining your company's core reason for being for the next 10 years, that's strategy. And it's hard, it's messy, and you don't see the results tomorrow. So, naturally, we tend to drift towards the easy stuff. And here's another fantastic insight, this one from Scott Galloway. We are constantly chasing relevance, jumping on the latest meme, the latest trend, thinking it'll make our brand matter. But relevance is fleeting. What you really want is resonance. That's when your brand's message actually connects with someone's personal values on a much deeper level. Chasing relevance is mostly just noise. Building resonance is what creates customers for life. And finally, Byron Sharp's research gives us a reality check on how brands actually grow. It's not about creating a little short-term sales spike with a clever ad. It's about becoming memorable and easy to find, over and over again, for the long haul. It's about building mental availability. So when somebody thinks of your category, your brand is the first one that pops into their head. And that, my friends, is a long, slow, strategic game. So all this leads to a pretty crucial showdown. What happens when you put a strong brand up against marketing execution? Well, as we're about to see, the results are really telling. And here it is. This might be the most important thesis of this entire discussion. Let it sink in. A strong, well-defined brand can actually survive some pretty bad marketing. But, and this is a big but, the reverse is not true. You cannot take a weak, undefined brand, slap some great marketing on it, and expect a miracle. It just doesn't work that way. This slide just illustrates the point perfectly. I mean, think about Apple. They could release a truly mediocre, forgettable ad tomorrow, and we'd probably all just shrug it off. Why? Because the brand itself is so strong, it's resilient. Now, contrast that with Pepsi's infamous Kendall Jenner ad. Technically, it was great marketing. Huge budget, slick production, big star. But it was a spectacular failure because it wasn't connected to any real, authentic brand truth. The slick marketing couldn't save a hollow message. So, as we start to wrap this up, everything we've talked about builds to one final, really critical question. One that kind of shatters a favorite myth in the business world. You know the story. We all love it. The brand that just happened by accident in a garage somewhere. It's a romantic idea, but Duran argues it's a dangerous fantasy in today's world. The market is just too saturated. The brands that win today, the ones that actually cut through all the noise, are built with intense, deliberate intention. They don't just leave their identity to chance. And here's where the author, Santiago Duran, brings it all home. It's the ultimate trade-off. Which would you choose? His answer is crystal clear. A strong brand with just average marketing will build long-term value, an actual asset. But a weak brand with flashy, world-class execution, that just burns through your budget and leaves absolutely nothing behind once the campaign is over. And so, we end by turning this question back to you. Before you go check another dashboard, before you launch another A/B test, just stop and ask the most important question of all. Do we actually have a brand strategy? Or are we just driving really, really fast, hoping we accidentally end up somewhere meaningful? Because as we've seen, the answer to that question could change absolutely everything.